After I was reunited with my birth family, my sister, the girl who had taken my place, tearfully offered me her fiancé. "Lily," she said, her voice a model of selfless understanding, "James is yours. I'll step aside." The moment she cried, the whole family turned on me with aching hearts and pointed fingers. I understood then. This family responded to weakness, not strength. So I dropped to my knees with a thud, my sobs louder and more desperate than hers. "Aurora, how can you step aside? If you do, James will blame me, Mom and Dad will blame me, and my brother will blame me. What's the point of me even being alive?" I wailed, grabbing a fruit knife from the nearby table. "If you don't agree to stay with him, I'll die right here." The entire family froze, their faces a mask of shock. Aurora, the fake heiress, was stunned speechless. A joke. When it came to crying, I was the undisputed queen. In my first week back at the Sterling mansion, I felt like an alien who had crash-landed in someone else's world. And Aurora Sterling, the girl who had lived my life for 18 years, was the princess of that world. One day, a team of workers arrived, carrying ladders and cans of paint. They were going to repaint the entire villa in Aurora's favorite shade, a soft, buttery cream. My room, originally a tasteful off-white, was on their list. I stopped the workers, my voice soft. "Could you please not paint my room?" Aurora drifted over at the sound of my voice, linking arms with our mother, her eyes already welling up. "Lily, don't you like it?" "I'm so sorry, I wasn't being thoughtful. I just thought you'd like a warm color, too." Our mother's brow furrowed as she looked at me. "Lily, Aurora meant well. Why are you being so ungrateful?" Our father put down his newspaper. "It's just a bit of paint. It's best if the whole house has a uniform style." I looked at their entitled faces and understood. In this house, my opinion didn't matter. Only Aurora's tears did. "Fine." My own eyes reddened, and my voice, thick with unshed tears, was even more wounded than Aurora's. "Dad, Mom, I'm not ungrateful. I just heard. I heard that this was the nursery you prepared for me when I was a baby. This was the color you chose for me with your own hands all those years ago." I lifted my head, my eyes shimmering with tears I stubbornly refused to let fall. I wanted to keep it, as if I was never lost at all. I wanted to feel, just for a moment, what it would have been like if I had grown up with you. My voice began to tremble, finally breaking into a choked sob. "I'm sorry. I'm being selfish. I shouldn't have asked. Go ahead and paint it. Just pretend I never came back." The living room fell into a dead silence. The blame on my parents' faces morphed into shock, then into a tidal wave of guilt. My mother pushed Aurora away and rushed to hug me. "My sweet girl, don't cry, don't cry. It's Mommy's fault. We're so sorry." My father roared at the workers, "Who told you to touch the young Mrs. room? Nobody touches it. Get your things and get out." My brother, Julian, who had just come downstairs, saw the scene and hurried to my side, awkwardly patting my back. "Lily, don't cry. No one will dare touch your room." Aurora stood frozen, her gentle expression stiffening on her face. She probably never imagined I would take her little trick and amplify it tenfold. She opened her mouth to speak, but I started crying harder. "Sister, please don't be mad at me. I didn't mean to make Mom and Dad angry, I just can't control myself." With that one sentence, I preemptively blocked any accusation she could possibly make. If she said another word, she would be the one bullying the victim, the fragile, sensitive, long-lost daughter. The color drained from Aurora's face, leaving it a sickly, mottled white. It was a beautiful sight. Chapter 2. After that day, no one mentioned painting the walls again. My room became the sole exception in this buttercream castle. Aurora lay low for a few days, but she was soon back to her old tricks. On her birthday, Julian gifted her a screaming red Porsche, the keys nestled in a velvet box. Aurora shrieked with delight, hugging Julian's arm and jumping for joy. "Thank you, brother. I love you so much. The whole family watched her with beaming smiles. The atmosphere was warm and harmonious. I stood in the corner, an outsider. Julian's gaze flickered over to me, a hint of discomfort in his eyes. He pulled another, smaller box from his pocket and handed it to me. Lily, this is for you. I opened it. It was a bracelet, clearly expensive, but compared to a Porsche, it was a pittance. A handout for a beggar. Aurora glanced at it, her words dripping with false generosity. Wow, brother, you're playing favorites. Lily's gift is so beautiful too. But the smug satisfaction in her eyes was unmistakable. I stared at the bracelet and didn't take it. A tear escaped, then another. Not a loud sob, but a silent, steady stream. The laughter in the room died. All eyes were on me. I choked back a sob, my voice as light as a feather. Brother, thank you. But I can't accept this. Julian was stunned. Why not? I lifted my tear-filled eyes, my gaze a carefully crafted mix of inferiority, envy, and desolate sadness. A girl like me, who grew up in the dirt, how could I ever be worthy of something so precious? My sister is a star in the sky. She deserves the best of everything. The sports car, the designer labels, it should all be hers. And me? I let out a self-deprecating laugh, the tears flowing faster. I'm just happy to have enough to eat and not cause you any trouble. I appreciate the thought, brother, but I'm truly not worthy of this gift. I turned, covering my mouth to stifle my cries, and ran upstairs. My retreating figure was the loneliest, most tragic sight imaginable. Behind me, I heard Julian's panicked voice. Lily. That's not it. Let me explain. And my parents' furious scolding. Julian. What were you thinking? How could you treat them so differently? Aurora's hand, still holding the car keys, was frozen in midair. The smile on her face was uglier than a grimace. That night, Julian knocked on my door. His eyes were red, filled with guilt. Lily, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I sat by the window, hugging my knees, my eyes swollen like walnuts, and said nothing. He pushed a black card toward me. There's 3 million on this. It's from me, to make it up to you. You can buy any car you want. Something even better than your sister's. I didn't look at the card. I just stared out the window. Brother, I don't want things. I just feel that in your hearts, I'll never be as important as she is. It's okay, I whispered. I accept it. After all, she was the one who was with you for 18 years. Julian looked like his heart was about to break. No. You're my real sister. From now on, I'll give you the best of everything. He practically forced the card into my hand before fleeing my room. I looked at the card, wiping away the last of my crocodile tears. You want to play games with me? Aurora, darling, you're an amateur. Chapter 3. The family's fiancé was named James Nordling. He was the heir to the Nordling Corporation and was originally engaged to Aurora. After I was found, the engagement became awkward. More than once, Aurora performed her kindness and generosity for my parents. Dad, Mom, the engagement was with the Sterling family. Now that my sister is back, she should be the one to inherit it. I'm willing to step aside and wish James and my sister all the best. Every time she said it, my parents' hearts ached for her, and they would look at me as if I were a thief. The first time James came over for dinner, the atmosphere was thick with tension. He sat across from me, his gaze polite but distant. He spent most of his time talking to Aurora. They talked about mutual friends, high society parties, and topics I couldn't even begin to understand. I just ate my food quietly, a ghost at the table. During the meal, Aurora put some food on my plate, her gesture as intimate as if we were real sisters. Lily, eat more. You're too thin. Then, her hand slipped. A piece of greasy braised pork fell directly onto my faded, worn-out t-shirt. A large grease stain bloomed across the fabric. "Oh," she gasped, her face a mask of apology. "I'm so sorry, Lily, I didn't do it on purpose." "Your clothes." All eyes focused on the stain on my chest. The t-shirt was one I'd brought from the countryside, a $10 bargain bin find. In a room full of couture and luxury brands, it was already out of place. Now, it was a joke. If I got angry, I'd be making a scene. If I swallowed it, I'd be admitting I was inferior. I looked at the stain. I didn't get angry. Instead, I smiled. A smile that was sadder than tears. Then I looked up, my eyes swimming with moisture I refused to let fall. "It's okay, sister," I said, my voice hoarse. "It's just an old shirt. If it's dirty, I'll just throw it away. It's the only kind of clothes I have, anyway." "Not like you, sister. You wear designer brands I can't even recognize. I'm the one embarrassing this family. I shouldn't have worn something like this to the dinner table." I put down my chopsticks, stood up, and bowed deeply to everyone. "I'm sorry, Dad, Mom, Mr. Nordling. Please excuse me." I turned and walked away, my back ramrod straight. Every step I took felt like it was landing on their hearts. I could feel James's gaze shift from Aurora to me for the first time, a look of curiosity and pity in his eyes. Behind me, I heard my mother's suppressed fury. "Aurora Sterling. Look what you've done." Aurora was speechless. "Mom, I really didn't mean to." "Enough. I think you did it on purpose." A carefully planned family dinner, ruined by a single, unshed tear. That night, I received a text from James. "Are you free tomorrow? I'll take you to buy some clothes." I looked at the message and smiled. The fish was on the hook. Chapter 4. I didn't turn James down. The next day, I showed up at the designated mall, wearing the same grease-stained t-shirt. When James saw me, his handsome brows knitted together. "Why are you still wearing this?" I looked down. This is the only decent shirt I have to wear out." His expression grew even more complicated. He said nothing, simply took my wrist and pulled me into the most exclusive luxury boutique in the mall. The sales assistant's eyes were full of contempt when they saw my outfit. But after they saw James's black card, their faces instantly lit up with the warmest smiles. James pointed to a rack of the latest dresses. "Anything that suits her, wrap it up." Then he looked at me, his voice softening slightly. "Go try them on." I acted like a startled rabbit, waving my hands frantically. No, it's too expensive, I can't accept." "It's not for you," he said flatly. "It's for the Sterling family's reputation. When you go out in cheap clothes, you embarrass all of us." The words were harsh, but I knew it was his clumsy way of being kind. I was forced to change into a white dress. The girl in the mirror was slender, pale, with a timid look in her eyes, a complete stranger to my usual self. When I walked out, James's gaze faltered for a moment. He quickly recovered, handing his card to the assistant. "Wrap them all up." When we left the store, he was carrying more than a dozen bags. I trailed behind him, head down. "Mr. Nordling, thank you. But I still can't." "Call me James," he interrupted. I paused. He stopped and turned to look at me, his eyes deep. "Lily Sterling, you don't have to live so cautiously. You are the rightful heiress of the Sterling family." In the sunlight, his features were sharp, his eyes holding an emotion I couldn't decipher. I sneered internally, but my words were soft. "But in their hearts, my sister is the real one. I'm just an outsider." The tears started to well up again. "I don't want to take anything that belongs to my sister," I looked him in the eye. "Including you." James," I stammered, "you and my sister look so good together. I wish you both the best. And I wish that I can get used to being alone soon." With that, I grabbed the shopping bags and ran, leaving James standing alone, his brow furrowed and his face dark. He started avoiding Aurora. When she called him, he was always in a meeting or on a business trip. When she went to his office, his secretary would say he wasn't there. Aurora was going mad. She came to confront me. "Lily Sterling, what did you say to James?" I looked at her with wide, innocent eyes. A mist began to form. "Sister, what are you talking about? Why would I say anything to Mr. Nordling? I only told him that I wish you both the best and that he should treat you well." "Sister, don't you believe me?" I clutched my chest, my face a mask of hurt. "How could you think of me like that? Am I really the kind of person who would ruin your relationship?" Aurora was speechless. I pressed my advantage, my tears flowing freely. "I know, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have come back, I shouldn't have appeared in your lives. I'll leave now, I'll leave the Sterling family and never bother you again." I made a show of rushing for the door. My parents, who were just coming downstairs, saw the scene and were horrified. "Aurora! What are you doing to your sister again?" my father roared. "Your sister is fragile, and you're still provoking her." "What are your intentions?" my mother added. Aurora stood there, trembling, watching me cower in our mother's arms. Her eyes were filled with venom. She knew she had lost again. Utterly and completely. Chapter 5. Aurora started to copy me. She realized that a direct confrontation was useless, so she began to play the victim, too. One afternoon, the maid brought out a plate of sliced watermelon and handed the first serving to me. Aurora saw this but said nothing. A few moments later, she suddenly clutched her stomach, her face pale. "Oh, my stomach hurts so much." My mother was instantly concerned. "What's wrong, Aurora?" Aurora leaned weakly against the sofa, her eyes red. "It's nothing, Mom. My stomach is probably just too sensitive for cold watermelon." As she spoke, she glanced meaningfully at the watermelon in front of me. The implication was clear: Lily gets to eat it, but I can't. In the past, my mother would have rushed to comfort her and then blamed me or the maid. But I was a step ahead. Before my mother could even speak, the fork in my hand clattered to the floor. I clutched my chest, my face even paler than Aurora's, my breathing ragged. "Sister, do you think I stole your watermelon?" "I'm sorry, it's my fault. I forgot you have a delicate stomach. A coarse person like me can eat anything. Please don't be angry, sister." "When you're angry, my chest feels tight, I can't breathe." I gasped for air, my hand clawing at my chest as if I were about to suffocate. "Lily! Quick! Call an ambulance!" The entire family went into a panic. My father rushed over to help me breathe, my mother held me and cried, and my brother, Julian, dragged Aurora aside, hissing at her, "Aurora! You did that on purpose, didn't you? You know Lily is fragile, and you still pulled a stunt like that to provoke her." Aurora was dumbfounded. She had a stomachache. I was on the verge of death. How could she possibly compete? The family doctor was summoned. After a full examination, his conclusion was grave: the young miss had suffered from heart palpitations and respiratory distress due to extreme emotional agitation. She needed complete rest and must not be subjected to any further stimulation. From that day on, my status in the house was untouchable, like a priceless, fragile artifact. If I so much as frowned, the entire family would flock to my side, fussing over me. Aurora was completely isolated. She became an awkward presence in her own home. Everyone was terrified that she might accidentally shatter the porcelain doll. She wouldn't accept it. She knew she had to find a way to get rid of me for good. So, she orchestrated her masterpiece. Chapter 6. One day, as I was coming down the stairs, I saw Aurora standing at the landing. When she saw me, a strange glint appeared in her eye. The moment I was beside her, she let out a sharp scream and threw herself down the staircase. Ah! The tremendous crash brought everyone running. My parents and Julian burst out of their rooms to see Aurora lying in a heap at the bottom of the stairs, her forehead gashed and bleeding. And me, standing perfectly unharmed in the middle of the staircase. Aurora lifted a weak hand and pointed at me, tears and blood mingling on her face. It was my sister. She pushed me. Instantly, all eyes shot toward me like daggers. Their gazes were filled with shock, suspicion, and suppressed rage. I was the enemy. If I tried to defend myself, no one would believe me. One person was perfectly fine, the other was bleeding on the floor. It was obvious who to believe. Lying on the ground, Aurora's lips curved into a faint, triumphant smirk. She thought she had won. I looked at her, and at the family huddled around her. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I just widened my eyes, those eyes that the doctor had diagnosed as fragile, and filled them with absolute terror and disbelief. My body began to tremble uncontrollably. It wasn't me. I whispered those 3 words. Then, my eyes rolled back into my head, and I fell backward like a plank of wood. My head hit the hard marble steps with a sickening thud. The sound was far more horrifying than Aurora's tumble. Before I lost consciousness, I saw the triumphant smile on Aurora's face freeze and shatter. She probably hadn't calculated that if she was going to play the victim, I was willing to play the martyr. You act hurt? I'll act dead. Let's see who plays the game better. Chapter 7. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. Everything was white, and the air smelled of antiseptic. My parents and Julian were gathered around my bed, their faces etched with exhaustion and fear. The moment I opened my eyes, my mother burst into tears. Lily, you're finally awake. You scared us to death. A sharp pain shot through the back of my head. I let out a soft hiss. Julian immediately tensed. What is it? Does your head still hurt? Doctor. Doctor. A doctor rushed in and examined me. The patient has a mild concussion, he announced, looking grim. Combined with her pre-existing emotional instability, the immense shock caused her to faint. He looked at my parents, his tone serious. Mr. and Mrs. Sterling, the patient's condition is not optimistic. Her mental state is extremely fragile, like a tightly wound string. Any further disturbance, no matter how small, could cause it to snap. As her family, you must create an environment for her that is absolutely safe and relaxing. She cannot endure any more grievances or provocations. The doctor's words were a final verdict, sealing Aurora's guilt. My father's face was ashen. He glanced at Aurora, who was standing by the door with a bandage on her own head. His eyes were colder and more disappointed than I had ever seen them. Aurora's injury was superficial. Mine was a mental breakdown plus a concussion. It was clear who was the real victim. Lying in the bed, I weakly turned my head to look at Aurora, a single tear tracing a path down my temple. Sister, why would you say that? I didn't push you, I really didn't. I know you hate me. You want me to leave this family. Fine. I'll go. When I get out of the hospital, I'll leave and never come back. You can all just pretend you never had me as a daughter. My voice was a mere thread of sound, but every word was a dagger to their hearts. Nonsense, my father snapped. You are a Sterling. No one can make you leave. He turned to Aurora, his voice harsher than ever before. Aurora Sterling. Apologize to your sister. Aurora jolted, looking at him in disbelief. Dad, you want me to apologize to her? You'd rather believe her than me? I believe the doctor. And I believe the evidence, he roared. I've already reviewed the security footage. There was no one within 3 feet of you. You fell on your own. And you still have the audacity to frame your sister. The blood drained from Aurora's face. She had calculated everything, except for the security camera in the living room that happened to capture that exact corner of the staircase. My parents hadn't mentioned it before because they were still trying to protect her, to give her a chance to confess. But she hadn't taken it. Aurora panicked, crying and trying to explain. No, Dad, Mom, I didn't mean it, I was confused for a moment. Enough, my mother cried, pointing at her, her eyes full of disappointment. I told you to treat her like a sister, and this is what you do. Lily suffered so much to come back to us, how could you be so cruel? Starting today, you're moving out. And you will think long and hard about what you have done wrong. Aurora looked as if she'd been struck by lightning. She was being kicked out. She had lost. Utterly and completely. She glared at me with pure hatred. I just buried my face in my pillow, my shoulders shaking slightly, playing the part of the poor soul wronged by the world. Only I knew that under the covers, I was smiling. The security camera? I knew it was there all along. The reason I dared to pull that stunt was because I had calculated that the moment the truth was revealed would be the most devastating blow of all. Chapter 8. Aurora was kicked out. I became the sole center of the family's universe. My illness fluctuated under their meticulous care. One day, I'd overhear that a project at the company wasn't going well, and I'd immediately suffer from heart palpitations. The next, I'd see a maid looking glum, and I'd be struck with insomnia. The entire family walked on eggshells, terrified of accidentally upsetting my glass heart. Julian canceled all non-essential social events to come home and spend time with me. My father would call from board meetings just to ask if I was in a good mood. My mother barely left my side, personally brewing soups and cooking my meals. James started visiting more frequently. He never mentioned Aurora. He just sat with me quietly, telling me light-hearted jokes or bringing me little trinkets to cheer me up. I knew that the scales in his heart had tipped completely in my favor. Aurora wasn't going to be exiled without a fight. She tried desperately to contact my parents and brother, crying and repenting, saying she knew she was wrong. But no one responded. The doctor had said that any news about her could be a trigger for me. For my sake, my family hardened their hearts and blocked all of her contact information. Desperate, she decided to make one last gamble at the company's annual charity gala. It was a star-studded event, and as the hosts, the Sterling family was in the spotlight. I appeared in the ballroom on my father's arm, wearing a magnificent star-dusted gown that James had picked out for me. My arrival caused a small stir. Everyone had heard the rumors about the Sterling's long-lost, sickly daughter. My pale complexion and fragile demeanor perfectly matched the stories. Halfway through the evening, the lights dimmed, and the large screen on the stage lit up. Everyone assumed it was a special part of the program. But the person who appeared on the screen was me. In the video, I was in the family garden, laughing and chatting with a gardener. I looked perfectly healthy, without a trace of sickness. I even reached out to playfully bat at a butterfly, smiling like a child. The scene then cut to me in my room, humming a song while watering my succulents. The carefree, relaxed girl in the video looked nothing like a mentally fragile patient. The hall erupted in whispers. Everyone was looking at me with strange, speculative eyes. Didn't they say she was on her deathbed? She looks fine to me. It must be an act, right? The games of the rich, what kind of drama is this? My parents' faces turned pale with shock and embarrassment. Just then, Aurora walked onto the stage, dressed in a white gown like a vengeful angel. She held a microphone, her eyes brimming with tears. Everyone, I know you're all confused. Tonight, I am going to expose a liar for who she truly is. She pointed at me, her voice shrill. Lily Sterling. She's not sick at all. It's all an act. She used her fake illness to win my parents' sympathy and kick me out of my own home. She is the truly manipulative, evil one. The flashbulbs of every camera in the room turned on me. I stood frozen, my body trembling slightly, like a frightened deer. My parents tried to rush to my side, but I stopped them with a look. I looked at Aurora on the stage, at the healthy version of myself on the screen, and at the contemptuous, entertained faces in the audience. I smiled. It was a smile full of despair and self-mockery. Then, I looked up at the screen and whispered a single sentence. My voice wasn't loud, but the microphone on my dress carried it throughout the entire hall. So, I'm only allowed to smile when I think no one is watching. So, even a moment of happiness is a sin for me. As the words left my lips, the video on the screen kept playing. This was something Aurora hadn't anticipated. The footage she had given the TV station ended there. In the video, after my smile in the garden faded, I turned to the gardener. "Thank you, Mr. Gable," I said, my voice heavy with sadness. "Talking to you, it helps me forget for a little while. But then I remember that my sister is still out there, suffering, and that my parents are so worried because of me, and my heart feels like it's being crushed by a stone." The scene changed again. In my room, after watering the plants, I put down the watering can and walked to the window, staring at the sky. If I died, I whispered to myself, wouldn't everyone be free? My sister could come home. My parents wouldn't have to worry about me. My brother wouldn't have to walk on eggshells around me. That would be for the best. The video ended. The hall was dead silent. If the first half of the video was evidence, the second half was the most devastating rebuttal imaginable. It painted me as a kind, forbearing, tragic figure who bore her suffering in silence and was even willing to die to grant everyone else peace. And Aurora, the one who had maliciously edited the video and publicly attacked the fragile, long-lost heiress, was exposed as a petty, vindictive clown. Aurora stood on the stage, her face ashen. She didn't know that the TV station employee she had bribed had been counter-bribed by James for double the price. The trap she thought she had set was, from the very beginning, for herself. I looked at her, and my tears finally broke free. "Sister, why would you do this to me? Do you really have to push me to my death before you're satisfied?" I clutched my chest, coughed violently, and a spray of blood erupted from my lips as my body went limp and collapsed. It wasn't real. It was a blood packet I'd hidden in my mouth earlier. But to everyone else, it looked like I had been so devastated that I had coughed up blood and was on the brink of death. "Lily! Ambulance! Someone call an ambulance!" The entire ballroom descended into chaos. As I was lifted onto a stretcher, I caught a glimpse of Aurora through the crowd. She was being dragged away by security, her face a blank, gray mask, muttering over and over, "No, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Game over." After that night, Aurora's reputation was in ruins. The drama of the vicious fake heiress drives real heiress to the brink became the biggest joke in high society. To quell the public outcry and to give me justice, the Sterling family publicly announced that they were disowning Aurora and sending her to a sanatorium abroad. They called it treatment. In reality, it was exile. And I, in the eye of the storm, became the most pitiable victim. My illness was now more legitimate than ever. The company's psychologists and psychiatrists unanimously diagnosed me with severe PTSD and an extreme lack of a sense of security. The only cure, they said, was to give me a sense of absolute control and safety. At a family meeting, in front of all my uncles and elders, I sat in a wheelchair, wrapped in a thick blanket, and voiced my wish in a faint whisper. "I'm scared. I always feel like everything I have can be taken away from me at any moment. Dad, Mom, Julian, could I have a small portion of the company's shares? Only when I'm holding something in my own hands can I sleep at night. Just a little bit. 1%, maybe?" I looked at them with eyes full of pleading and anxiety. My father looked at my pale little face, his heart aching with an almost unbearable pity. He waved his hand dismissively. 1%? You are my only daughter. Everything the Sterlings have will be yours one day. To help you recover in peace, starting today, I am transferring 50% of my shares to your name." A gasp went through the room. Julian, far from objecting, was the first to support it. "I agree. As long as Lily can get better, forget the shares, we'd give her the whole company." My mother held my hand, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, it's all for our Lily. We don't want anything, as long as you're healthy." And just like that, without firing a single shot, I gained controlling interest in the Sterling Corporation. I became the true master of the house. A few months later, my health recovered, and I officially joined the company. James became my most capable assistant and my most trusted partner. He asked me more than once, back at the hospital, "You already knew about the security camera in the living room, didn't you?" I would just smile and say nothing. Some things are better left unsaid. That is the rule of the game for adults. Occasionally, I receive a postcard from abroad. There's no signature, just a single sentence written in twisted, hateful English: "I will be back." I'd look at the postcard and casually feed it to the shredder. Then I'd pick up my coffee and gaze out the window. "You want to play? I'm ready anytime. Except next time, you might not even be able to afford the plane ticket home."